In The Legend of Zelda: Breath of the Wild, Link and Zelda are the only survivors of a team assembled to defeat Ganon. Link awakens in a decaying Hyrule, alone with all his allies long dead, save for the imprisoned Zelda. As Link sets out to right the wrongs of the past and avenge the lives of his friends, he discovers that some small part of them remains with him, in their families, alive thanks to that sacrifice 100 years ago. My name is John Reardon, and you're watching NWR TV. Welcome to Episode 3 of Legends of Hyrule, where we'll explore the lore and theories behind Breath of the Wild as we prepare for the release of The Legend of Zelda: Tears of the Kingdom. If you missed out on our first two episodes covering the Zonai and the subjugation of the Sheikah, don't forget to check those out after you finish this episode. But today, we're focusing on the Descendants of the Champions. As Link struggles anew against Ganon 100 years after the fall of Hyrule, he's joined by the descendants of his old allies. In Tears of the Kingdom, we see these same figures joining Link in his fight against the revived Gerudo King, Ganondorf. So, let's dive into the story of each of these key figures. While officially these characters are referred to as Descendants, Sidon is the one exception to that name. Sidon is the next in line to the Zora throne, as the son of King Dorephan and the younger brother of the Zora champion, Mipha. Unlike the other descendants, Sidon has known Link since before the calamity. The Zora lifespan is significantly longer than that of other Hyrulean species, meaning that even after 100 years, Sidon is still a relatively young Zora. Sidon's sister, Mipha, had a fledgling romantic relationship with Link prior to the calamity, and so Sidon grew up thinking of Link almost as an older brother. When Link returns after 100 years, many of the Zora, including a Zora elder named Muzu, hold Link directly responsible for the death of their princess Mipha. King Dorephan had been reluctant to allow Mipha to join the champions in the first place, so when they're all killed in the calamity, fear of loss is realized and the blame passes to Link. However, King Dorephan is fully aware of Mipha's feelings for Link. To honor his daughter's wishes, he gives Link armor that Mipha herself had created for him prior to her death. In Zora culture, it's tradition for female Zora to craft armor for their betrothed, but Mipha feared presenting this armor to Link, given the tense relationship between the Zora and the Hylians, and the opinions of high-ranking Zora like Muzu. It's only through Sidon's impassioned defense of his friend, and the king's gift of Zora armor crafted by Mipha herself, that Link wins over Muzu, and ultimately the rest of the Zora. Sidon then joins Link to help him overcome the defenses of Varuta, the Zora divine beast. Upon Link's victory, freeing the spirit of Mipha, Sidon and Link return to King Dorephan. The king thanks them both, but goes out of his way to tell Sidon how proud his sister would be of him. Sidon is visibly touched by these words, as it's clear he's grown up somewhat idolizing his older sister and Link. If Link approaches Sidon at night after freeing Mipha's spirit, Sidon can be overheard speaking to Mipha's statue, telling her that he misses her and asking her for the wisdom she once shared with him when he was a child. Yunobu is the great-grandson of the Goron champion Daruk. He is one of the younger Gorons Link meets, and is somewhat unassuming. He works as an assistant to the leader of the Elden Goron tribe, Bluto. Thanks to his hereditary connection to Daruk, Yunobu is able to make use of the same magical shield that Daruk could, otherwise known as Daruk's protection. By making use of this ability, Yunobu and Bluto have been working together to hold back divine beast Varudania whenever it ventures too far down Death Mountain. Gorons are a naturally resilient species. When rolled into a ball, they essentially become large boulders. They are also preferential to heat, explaining their natural habitat around a volcano. These natural traits of the species, combined with Yunobu's ability to shield himself, allowed him to serve as a literal cannonball. Along the road to Death Mountain Crater, the Gorons have positioned a series of cannons, out of which Bluto fires Yunobu to physically push back Varudania, using Daruk's protection. Unlike the Zora, who are able to personally remember Link, the Gorons believe Link is merely a Hylian traveler. Bluto has no reason to believe that Link is anything special, but asks him to look for Yunobu as Link seems a bit more confident than the young Goron. When Link first meets Yunobu, he is cowering in a cave, having ventured out from the relative safety of the Goron settlement to find painkillers for the aging Bluto, so that they can once again fight off the encroaching divine beast. Yunobu himself is not a particularly brave Goron, making use of his shield to protect him from danger. With Bluto out of commission, Yunobu must instead team up with Link to not only push back Vah Rudania, but reach it, so that Link can attempt to subdue it. When Link does free the spirit of Daruk aboard the divine beast, Yunobu catches a glimpse of his grandfather, and is filled with a new sense of courage. Teba's role as a descendant is somewhat more honorary than through direct bloodline. As far as we know, Teba bears no familial relation to the Rito champion Revali. Rather, Teba, like Revali, is the Rito warrior in charge of defending the Rito village. Teba has a wife, Suki, and a son, Tulin. Alongside his childhood friend Hearth, Teba has been attempting to board and gain control of divine beast Vah Medoh himself. On their most recent attempt before Link arrives, both Teba and Hearth are injured attempting to access the divine beast. While Hearth recovers at home, Teba remains determined to push himself to conquer Vah Medoh. The Rito fear that Vah Medoh will ultimately turn on their village, destroying it. Teba feels that the only way to protect his people and his family is to defeat the beast on his own. When Link arrives at the Rito village, he meets with their elder Canelli. Canelli recognizes the Sheikah slate on Link's hip, and at first believes Link to indeed be the Hylian champion, but after reminding himself that 100 years have passed, decides that Link himself must be a descendant of the Hylian champion of old. Believing that a champion's blood still runs in Link's veins, Canelli asks him to assist Teba. Much like Revali once doubted Link's ability, Teba questions whether Link possesses the archery skill to attack the divine beast in midair. After proving his worth, Link and Teba set out together to take down Vah Medoh's defenses and board it. Working together, they gain access to the divine beast, but Teba's wound from his previous unsuccessful attempt force him to return home, leaving the rest of the quest in Link's hands. When Link returns, he finds Teba finally resting and allowing his wounds to heal. He is returned to his family, and both he and his son Tulin are excited to return to the flight range, despite his wife's insistence that Tulin is too young to be out practicing archery. Riju came to power as the chief of the Gerudo after the death of her mother. She is the descendant of Urbosa, though exactly how many generations exist between the two is unknown. She is very young to be the leader of the Gerudo, but is well liked by her people, who all held great respect for her mother. That being said, there is apprehension about her age, and Riju is keenly aware of this. She views the recent theft of the Thunder Helm, an heirloom passed down among Gerudo rulers, as an omen of her unreadiness to rule. The Gerudo are a fiercely matriarchal society, to the point that men are not allowed inside their city. Link can only gain entrance by disguising himself as a woman in order to gain an audience with Riju. Riju quickly sees through this deception, but sees the Sheikah slate as a clear sign of him being a champion of old and a friend of the Gerudo champion, Urbosa. Against the objections of her protectors, she not only allows Link to stay, but requests his help in calming divine beast Vah Naboris. But first, she'll need him to recover the stolen Thunderhelm from the Yiga clan. Link returns successfully with the Thunderhelm, and together, he and Riju set out across the desert towards divine beast Vah Naboris. Riju dons the Thunderhelm, which, so long as Link stays close, will protect them both from the lightning storm caused by Vah Naboris. Together, they disable the beast, allowing Link to climb aboard and free the spirit of Urbosa. Upon Link's return to Gerudo Town, Riju thanks him and eventually even grants him permission to make use of the Thunderhelm himself. Riju goes forward with the confidence to lead her people, assured that Urbosa is looking down on her, guiding her into the future. In Tears of the Kingdom, we see that these descendants have, in a way, become a new generation of champions. They seem to be fighting alongside Link in his struggle against Ganondorf. Even Teba's son Tulin appears to be joining the fight. In the final trailer for Tears of the Kingdom, we see Tulin, Sidon, and Riju all charging forward to help Link. Curious is the absence of both Teba and Yunobu. Yunobu is of course not really the fighting type, so perhaps he's contributing in another way, but the absence of Teba is a bit more interesting. Perhaps his wounds fighting Va Meadow were more serious than we realized. Regardless, it appears the Descendants will be playing a much more active role this time around, both on the battlefield and off. The launch of Tears of the Kingdom isn't far off, but we still have one last episode of Legends of Hyrule left before then. If you enjoyed this episode, consider subscribing to Nintendo World Report TV, and once again, check out the others if you haven't already seen them. If you want to chat with us about this or anything else Nintendo related, you can hop on into our Discord using the link in the description. If you want to get a hold of me specifically, you can use the Twitter handle on screen. Once again, my name's John Raridan, thank you very much for watching, and I will see you next time. This video is made possible by our generous supporters on Patreon. Did you know that Nintendo World Report is funded directly by fans like you? When you support Nintendo World Report on Patreon, you get immediate access to multiple exclusive podcasts every month, exclusive Discord channels, an early look at select content, and more, all for as little as $1 a month. Check out patreon.com/NWR for all the details.